we are the Garntos. I'm JoAnna. This is Matt. This is Alistair, Lane, and Bodie. And this is our bus. So welcome inside our bus. This is the living room slash office slash dining room. This is basically where we live our lives, this little area, and then obviously outside. I think living outside is the biggest perk of having a tiny house. We have the sofa here that's large enough to sleep on. We wanted to make sure that an adult could sleep comfortably there. This is the dining room table, which lowers down for movie nights. These two cushions come off and we put them here. They're a little shorter than the table, but they take up, they fill the space. So you could sleep there if you were a little short. We have a huge pull-out drawer here that houses all of our homeschool materials, arts and crafts stuff, and then pull-out desk for the laptop, and then just a little cabinet above. These benches both open up, and that's where Alistair and Lane keep all of their toys and dress-ups and everything like that. We love that you can be in the kitchen and in the living room at the same time. In our previous house that we moved out of, there was a big wall separating the kitchen from the living room, and that was always something that really aggravated us in that house, so we like that it's just all open.
So as we move towards the back of the bus, or the main section of the bus, we passed a wood stove. The wood stove was actually, I think, maybe the strongest point of contention with design. JoAnna didn't think we needed to sacrifice the space, but I really wanted it for the feel of it all. And so we got a tiny wood stove, so we're pretty excited about that. All right, and then the kitchen. JoAnna mentioned we spend most of our time in the living space, and I would include the kitchen as part of that because we are a family that likes to cook together. We like to prepare meals together, and we like to bake. And so we wanted a lot of workspace, and as you can see, we kind of maximized the workspace as best we could in a tiny house. So we have a lot of counter space, we have big drawers that we can use as more or less a pantry. So on this side, we decided to do an L-shaped counter on this side that was integrated with the bench. And the thinking there was that the boys do enjoy helping, and we thought that would be a great way to have kind of a step stool or an elevated platform on which they could stand and then turn around and use the workspace behind them. We also chose a pretty big sink. We wanted a big sink because we weren't getting any type of dishwasher, so we thought more space the better to prep dishes and whatnot. We are on a well here on our semi-permanent spot, but we do have tanks. We have Fresh and Gray, and I think they hold 60 gallons a piece. But here on the farm, we're on a well. And we do have a filter, a water filter to help. All right, so the open shelving was actually all JoAnna's idea, and she thought having the open shelves for most of our larger kitchen items were big on the Instant Pot, so it fits well down there. She wanted a mix of materials, so we have a bit of wood and then integrated with a bit of metal. So with the open shelves, we're trying to avoid having too many doors or cabinet doors, and so this was kind of a nice way to be able to tuck things away so they'd be more secure without having so much more hardware and door faces involved. We got the propane oven stove. We like to bake a lot, so I definitely wanted an oven to bake, and we like cooking with gas, and it's been actually really good. It's got a convection feature too, which is nice for baking. But we didn't want to go full, like 30-inch, so we did reduce the size, but it still fills our needs. The hood for the stovetop. Many times when you see these in tiny houses, or so we're told, they have the recirculating feature that kind of filters the air, but it pumps it right back in. And we really wanted to pump the air out. And so that was kind of a challenge for our builder, but we held firm on that, and it's nice to be able to get, say, baked fish or the popcorn scent or the bacon scent out of the bus. We did want some open shelves for the look primarily. Functionally, it's great when we're stationary, whenever we go to move or travel, we're pulling all this stuff down to put somewhere secure, but it's nice to be able to just come and grab something that you need. The Dometic system is our heat and air, primary heat and air. It's nice, it's very efficient. If we run it, it helps cut down on humidity, but it's also quite loud, and so we find ourselves yelling when it's running at full blast. That's the one downside. So the refrigerator's just apartment style LG. We feel it suits our needs as far as space is concerned. The kitchen at large, I don't think I would change much. I think maybe the only thing we change is we may take off a foot, maybe 1.5 feet of space. Maybe just a bit of space out of the full design of the kitchen. But as far as the layout is concerned, I think we hit it pretty well on the money. And my favorite area of the bus really is from this point forward. I'm very pleased with how we settled on the layout and the final result.
We had always talked about going tiny, like before kids. It was just something we would like kind of joke about or daydream about, but we never did it. And then once we had the boys, I kind of thought like that ship had sailed. But we bought a house and spent a lot of time and a lot of money remodeling it, and then realized that we were just always going to be dumping our time and our money into it. And Matt kind of like started talking about doing a bus. We had always looked at tiny houses on trailers, and I didn't really like the idea of that because it just felt like, why would you go tiny and not be able to like move it? And so then when we learned about the bus idea, it kind of just grew from there.
And when we saw more and more families doing it, that kind of brought down the barrier that, well, now we have kids and you can't really go tiny, and I think that appealed. So.
Okay, so this is the transition into like more of the private space of our house. We have a little door here that locks from this side, which was quite a challenge to honestly figure out how to get built because, you know, it's just a really small space, but I really wanted to be able to like differentiate the living space from more of the private space because our shower is just open here. So it works really well. I mean, we fought really hard for fitting in an actual bathtub because of the boys. We didn't want them to have to only shower. We have Takagi instant hot water heater. It works great unless the pressure drops, the water pressure drops, then the water turns cold and you have to turn it off and turn it back on. We took out the original bus window here and we put in a RV window just to have the natural light in there. Moving back in to this area of the bus, you just have basically sleep space. On this side, this is Alistair's bunk, Lane's bunk. We did an outlet in here for them and a little light fixture so they can read. Their clothing is all stored in this drawer right here, and it works pretty great. They have everything that they need, and they love their bunks. Like, we were a little nervous because they've always shared a bed, but it's been great. They like it a lot. And then over on this side, we have two closets. The bottom closet is where the hot water heater is, and then the top is just our fuse box and some gauges. We have the Magic Chef washer and dryer combo unit, which we love it. I mean, it works really great. It's super slow to dry, so we try to hang stuff as much as we can. We just run it almost constantly with 5 people in the house. And then this space we left open because we found out about the baby like partially through the build, and we knew he would need a space to sleep, but we weren't really sure exactly how we would sleep him. So we've yet to really figure that out. This is the master bed room. We have a door that slides from both sides and locks from the inside. And yeah, it's just basically the bed. We have a lot of storage in the compartment back here. This is where the air conditioner for the actual bus was housed. and we had the builder take that out so that we could gain that storage space. We actually have a decent amount of space. We joked about how we maximize the kitchen. We're gonna have to keep our clothes in the kitchen, but it hasn't turned out too bad. Matt's clothes are here and mine are here, and then we just do dirty clothes and whatever else under there. We had a builder come in after the fact to add to our headboard, so we just had him build it up in front of the window to gain a little bit more storage, and that basically is where we keep all of our camping gear and like the boys' backpacks and stuff like that. So this is our toilet room. We wanted to separate the toilet and the sink from the shower because with 5 people in the house, we wanted to be able to use these 2 spaces independently. And we ended up with this separate compostable toilet, which we really like. It works really great. We just have the sink and a little storage. And we put a window in here as well because we were really concerned about, we really wanted natural light as much as possible.
All right, so the name of our bus is Businante, and it's a reference to Don Quixote, his horse, Rosinante. And Rosinante, if I'm correct, the horse used to be just an average horse, and now it's something different. And so with Alistair's help, we came up with Businante, and it used to be a bus, and now it's something different. It's a vehicle for adventure. So the last area here is the cockpit of the bus, and the bus itself is a 2003 Gillig Phantom that we bought out in California. So we added the little shelf here for plants and keys, wallet. You'll see a few. Mouse. You'll see a few plants here that we chose to add a bit of green. If you come around to this side, kind of a catch-all for coats and backpacks, jackets. The seat is an air ride seat, which makes the bus pretty fun to drive. You feel like you're just kind of floating along as you go down the highway. Not like any car seat, of course. The boys both enjoy cranking up the bus. We have to crank it every so often just to keep the air suspension system topped off, because it does bleed out over time. And so they each take turns getting to crank it up, and it's always kind of a fun thing for them. So here at the entryway, we have a little shoe cubby that's built under the sofa. And that's where we kind of stash the shoes for the most part. The steps themselves were lined with the Rhino liner paint, and that's been pretty good. There are a few places we need to touch up already, but that's been nice, and it's easy to clean. And this is kind of like the mudroom area, I guess you could say.
So we're the Garntos. I'm JoAnna. This is Matt. Alistair, 7. Lane is 5, and Bodie is 6 months old.
I'm going to turn 8 in March.
Allie will be 8 in March. Thanks for visiting our bus and letting us show off what we have been working on for the last year. We hope you enjoyed our bus tour.
Yeah, thanks.